listening to yet another video. Please give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe down below to see more content from myself, or if you're coming back to the channel and you're already subscribed, thank you once again for tuning in. I really appreciate it. So today we're back once again. We're talking about an older retro movie, and I've got the awesome Rashad G. Last time we spoke about Dead Poets Society, so I got to school him on a movie. Now this time he's kind of schooling me once again, because I thought, okay, let's pick out a movie he hasn't maybe seen again, but it turns out he's actually seen Alligator multiple times, and we're going to hear from him very shortly. So today we're talking about the 1980 horror movie Alligator. So this movie is a rip-off of Jaws. So let me just get that out the way to start with, because if you're a huge fan of Jaws, you may not like this movie if you're so serious about that. But if you don't mind that it's a rip-off, it's actually really well done. This movie overall is awesome. It's directed by Lewis Teague, who I will give a shout out straight away, because this man, although I may have not seen many of his movies, he directed the likes of Cujo, which is a well-known name movie that a lot of people still respect nowadays. He also did Jewel on the Nile, which I haven't seen, but again, that's still a movie that holds up now. And he also did a movie called Cat's Eye. The overall point is, of those kind of 3 or 4 titles I mentioned, is used to kind of doing like an animal-based horror movie. For this one, we're talking about Alligator, and I just really feel that he might be underappreciated in his art, because he's done a lot of great movies, or at least a couple really memorable ones. But the film also stars Riker, and it stars Robert Forster. So those two are really cool in this movie. I like the chemistry between them. For most part of this movie, I particularly liked David Madison, Robert Forster's character, because he's this cop who isn't kind of by the book cop. He's represented as kind of like an everyday guy, where he's awkward in interviews. He's not really slick at what he does. He's kind of the opposite of that. I really like that they represented that well in this movie. He was relatable. You could get on his side. You could kind of feel what he was feeling kind of throughout this movie. And the chemistry he had with Robin Riker's character, Marisa, played out really well, especially towards the second act of this movie. But overall, the premise of this movie is essentially Ramone, an alligator, as a little baby, he is flushed down the toilet, as Marisa's character did and heard him. She didn't realise that he was flushed down the toilet, and for so many years, Ramone's been living under the sewers, trying to gather food or laboratory experiment rats, whatever they're throwing down there. Essentially, one day, he comes up in the streets and he's going to cause absolute rampage, and he goes on a killing streak, and this is where the movie excels. Overall, firstly, really enjoyed this movie. Never seen it before. It came out in 1980, over 30 years ago. And I read that Ramone the alligator was actually animatronic as well, which works really well if we're going into the movie nowadays, because it is 2021. I've never seen this before, and most effects hold up because of the animatronic and the use of kind of the practical effects that they did. Maybe there is a couple of shots outdated, but I'll get to that very shortly. The acting in this as well was really good. It didn't take itself too seriously, but again, our two leads, they were actually likeable leads. I didn't think the chemistry was off at all. I thought actually it worked pretty good, especially again towards the second half. The first half, David Madison, the cop, our main protagonist, Robert Forster, has this joke about his hairline, which Rashad will probably touch on in just a short moment. By all means, the best part of this movie is the alligator, and when he's causing absolute mayhem. One of my favourite scenes is this scene where they're particularly in the river or the water, whatever they're doing, and he's going on a killing spree with the police and the boats when they think, oh, we've got him trapped in the water now, we're shooting some ammunition at him. Do they hell have control over him? He's the one who has control over them. But there's many more memorable scenes, and I'll talk about them in a second. But right now, I want to hand it over to the awesome Rashad G and get his thoughts on the 1980 movie Alligator.
Z, what's the deal? Pickles, is everything kosher? So I'm surprised that you recommended this one to me, because I think this is a movie that a lot of people just forgot about, don't talk about, don't put enough respect on. But I'm glad you recommended this to me, because this is one of my favorite movies from the 80s, a true cheese fest that's self-aware, knows what it is, and you just watch this movie and have fun with it. And that is Alligator from 1980, starring a pre-Jackie Brown Robert Forster. And it's funny because he has the same kind of, well, not gag, but the same kind of, where he talks about his receding hairline. If you watch Jackie Brown, he talks about the same thing, how his hairline was going back and he had to get the, not just for men, what's that shit called, the hair club for men or whatever. So that's like an ongoing joke in this movie and in that movie. And come to find out, Quentin Tarantino said that he actually based the character of Max Cherry on Jackie Brown from the character in Alligator. So yeah, Alligator, this movie is special because it's a monster movie. It's a true monster movie that, like I said, doesn't take itself seriously. It's just a fun, nonsensical, if that's even a word, monster flick. So I'm sure you went over the plot and everything. The alligator gets flushed down the toilet. And in a way, it's kind of social satire because the whole thing with the alligator getting so big like that, they were flushing the dead animal carcasses down in the sewers. They were doing experiments on them because they were trying to grow meat, and the alligator was just eating all that shit up. That's how he got so big. For 1980, I feel like the effects in this movie really worked. I mean, yeah, you could tell sometimes it was animatronic, but because a lot of times the movie was dark, you really couldn't see the fakeness of the alligator. And a lot of times you see it from the gator's point of view, or you see like from the tail, or for like they shot it in a way where it was not really fake. I think the only time that the gator did look fake was when he was eating that one guy in the alleyway, the fake Quint, the hunter. You know, these monster movies, they always have to have a hunter or expert that knows all about the animal. So the scene where he was eating the guy in the alleyway, chomping on him, you can tell that was, you know, that didn't look too real at all. And also, this was at a time where you had a lot of Jaws ripoffs. Okay, so with the success of Jaws, just like with Hollywood, with a lot of trends, you know, Fast and the Furious and, you know, the MCU or whatever, well, like once a trend gets started, other studios have to capitalize off of it. So with the success of Jaws, you had like this almost like exploitation list of ripoffs that came after it. So you had Piranha, Orca, a movie about a bear called Grizzly. Then you had an Italian-made Jaws movie called Great White, which I believe Universal sued him for that shit. You know what I'm saying? Then you have Alligator. And Steven Spielberg went on record to say that Alligator was his favorite of the Jaws ripoffs, which, you know, coming from the director of Jaws, that's a big compliment. Alligator, on the other hand, is just a simple plot. An alligator gets flushed down the toilet into the sewer, eats a bunch of dead carcasses. He grows to this big, giant monstrosity. He busts through the fucking sidewalk, which is my favorite scene in the movie. He busts through the damn sidewalk and eats a police officer, and you see him just walking down the street, just casually just walking along like, yeah, I own this shit now. Yeah, you can tell right there, they used a regular alligator, but they did miniatures around it. I don't mind that. To me, it's organic. It looks like an actual alligator, which it was, instead of a fucking CGI or whatever, you know what I'm saying? To me, yeah, CG is cool, but sometimes you can overdo it where it just takes away the realism, because I believe the human eye can see what's real or not. So when you actually see a real gator, holy shit, that's a real gator. So yeah, my favorite part was when he bust through the damn, through the sidewalk. And I also love the scene where he came and crashed that party and just massacred everybody. You see the tail knocking people in the air. You see him dismantle a limousine and kill everybody in the limousine. Like, this movie is just a bonkers good time. And yes, is it a stupid movie? Yeah, but it's just so damn fun. I don't mind if a movie is stupid as long as you entertain me. Just recently, I watched Tom and Jerry the movie, right? And it was so bad, but it wasn't laughably bad. It was just bad. It was boring. It bored the shit out of me, except for the Tom and Jerry parts. Alligator knows exactly what it is, and it doesn't try to be more than what it is. And when a movie can do that and entertain me, I recommend it to anybody. Get you a couple of shots of tequila, order you a pizza, and watch Alligator. I'd say it's probably the second best alligator film right after Crawl. To me, Crawl is number one. I'll put Alligator number two. Then I would say Lake Placid. All right, so I love this film. I recommend anybody watch it. It's a perfect B movie. It's a perfect guilty pleasure. You will love this, and it has Robert Forster. All right, so if you're looking for a good Jaws ripoff, Alligator is the way to go. I say Alligator, and then I'll say watch Orca. Orca was a pretty good Jaws ripoff as well, but nothing, of course, can top the OG, and that is Jaws. So anyways, that's my 2 cents on Alligator. Z, the floor is back to you again, brother. What do you got for this movie? And thank you for inviting me once again, bro. See you in the next one.
Rashad, man, thank you so much for your thoughts on this review. I absolutely loved them, but one of the big things I loved about Rashad's review on this, guys, is the fact that he's seen this film so many times and getting a chance to revisit this again is really cool, especially how he revisited this a lot in his childhood. And I definitely agree in terms of the best parts of this movie about when the gator comes up into the streets and bursts through the street path. That was awesome. And the part of the wedding, that shit was brutal, especially towards the end. It was fantastic. The amount of killings the gator did in that was just insane. And if you're wanting a bit of gore, if you're wanting a bit of blood, if you're wanting to kill a creature going loose, Alligator is definitely the movie for you. I kind of agree with everything that Rashad said. I kind of didn't really have anything I could say against it. Film is just such a blast. And overall, I loved it. I would go watch it again tonight. But I've got more films to review. So overall, guys, loved Alligator, highly recommended, and my score for this review is... Firstly, thank you so much to Rashad, and join in with yet another review. We've got more movies coming, so stick around for those. Again, a link to his channel will be down below, so please go check him out. Tell him that the Z Reviews sent you, and go show him some love. But until then, guys, please give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you already haven't. And just a quick thank you to everyone for the love and support that you've shown myself and the channel as of late. I really appreciate it, and I want to smash 250 subs for the year, so please hit that subscribe button. It's completely free, and I'd love to see you here once again. But until next time, guys, this has been the Z Review, and I'll be seeing you later.